And we starting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. With me, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're live for the first time in this channel. Let me know who's here. I see people are already here, so send me a hi here in the comments. I'm curious to see who is joining us today to have awesome celebration time. So grab your glasses and most importantly, grab a drink. But let me get this full screen here for y'all. Hold on. All right, here we are. So today's time to celebrate just having the courage to do this, y'all. It has been crazy this past days figuring out how to put out this live. And then all the systems clashing and platforms. And it looks so easy when we see all these YouTubers putting their content out, exposing themselves, coming and doing these lives. And it just looks so easy. So kudos to you all. Kudos to Ale and Duda from Get Outside that inspired me to do this. Obrigada, Ale e Duda. And just, we just live this life once, as far as we know. So, as I always say, you just gotta do what you want to do. And for me, it's putting myself out there and sharing about my travels. All my friends always ask me tips, and they say they get so inspired about my travels. So this is the chance, this is the platform for me to share all of that. So let's raise a glass and let's pop our drinks together. I'm inviting you. Hey, for a happy hour with me here in this channel today. I'm hoping we're gonna do this more often. Alexa, hi. Oi, mãe. I'm seeing my people here. Oh, thank you, amiga. All right, let's pour our drinks together. I am a hardcore Moscato drinker. So this is what I'm pouring for myself. And if my friend Gail was here, she was gonna yell at me for the cheap wine. But you guys, this is not advertising, but this is amazing and cheap and delicious. So cheers all. Let's start these conversations in this chat today. There's a lot we want to cover in this live. I have a little list here to guide me. So if you see me cheating here, looking at the side, I'm just going through my list so I don't forget to talk about anything that I really wanted to chat with you all about today. So let's talk about what we're gonna go through in this live. I want to try to make this short and sweet so y'all can enjoy. I'm gonna answer the top 10 questions you all sent me on Instagram, on YouTube, and some of you are cheating and are either WhatsApping or texting me questions. But hey, beginners, we accept anything, so I'm gonna answer those too. Mano, se tiver difícil aí de entender, pessoal, galera do Brasil, oi, bem-vindos, vamos praticar inglês aqui. Let me welcome my Brazilian people. They need to feel welcome too. Prima, tudo bem? All right, so in this live, let's focus. Cheers. We're gonna go through. I'm gonna answer those top 10 questions I selected from you all. Thank you for sending them. Funny, some stuff I hear you all asking me, but I am gonna answer. We're gonna recap the season that we just finished, Florida Keys. What an amazing time. I'm gonna share something very excited that you all know it's coming, which is the ebook for you all to learn how to do your first campervan travel. And I can share with you, I have put nearly 100 hours researching and building this ebook for you all. And I wish I had something like that when I started my campervan travels, because I'm including everything in it for you. We'll get there later in this chat. We're also going to talk, how can you win a free, yes, I'm talking a free ebook, so you can get all those tips, including I'm going to bundle the itinerary for the Florida Keys travel when it comes out. So stay tuned. And we're going to finish up with what's next for this channel. There's something that has never been done on this channel coming right after the season. So stay tuned to the end of this conversation to figure out what it is. But let's start answering some questions. Let me take a look here in the chat. Rita, mwah, mwah, I love you. She's saying she loves the wall behind. That's my travel wall. That goes really well with this channel. All right, let's start answering some questions. The first one is, and they are not in any particular order, okay? It's just how they came. How do you stay safe traveling solo, Selena? Are you crazy? Well, we all know I'm crazy, but I will say for my friends and family that have been following me on this, I have evolved so much during this. My first season, for the OG people in the channel that watched Hawaii, Maui season, I was a wild person. That was my first time trying. I felt safe in Hawaii. And I end up, if y'all remember the episode that I got lost in the hike to the blowhole, I think that was my biggest lesson solo traveling, camper van that I've experienced. I went on this hike, got in the mountain, aiming down at the blowhole, super easy to find your path, climb down all the way the mountain, these crazy rocks, get to the blowhole, beautiful sunrise. I was just coming to see the sunrises, so I brought no snacks, no water, nothing. I turn around and I cannot figure out where's the way back. Well, I was lost for hours, y'all. I climbed this one mountain, it was not there. I climbed the other one, it was not there. I was hitting exhaustion. No one else is showing up in this place. And right there and then I learned I needed better resources. Especially that no one knew I was there. No one knew my itinerary. No one knew nothing. So how do I stay safe through this? So number one, I always have someone. I have a good friend of mine, Nina, amiga, my sister by choice. She stays tuned every time I travel. So she's always expecting texts from me throughout the day. She kind of knows what my itinerary is. And I'm like, amiga, I'm going to this place. Or I got here, I'm safe, I'm leaving. So I'm always touching base with her. So if she doesn't hear from me, she can reach out. If I don't reply, something's weird. And she has the last location I was. Plus, she also has the iPhone has the feature for you to share your location 24/7. So that is good as well. I carry, basic safety items with me. I always have now pepper spray, pocket knife, and other things I'm not going to mention in this channel and in this chat. But you gotta have those tools. You gotta know how to use them. One thing I strongly recommend to all my females out there traveling solo, go do a class on self-defense. It's fun, it's useful, and it empowers you to feel confident if you ever have to use it. So, and to be honest, it gives you an extra layer of, I kind of know what I'm doing. So these are some ways I stay safe. I always listen to my gut. Something tells me that person's not right or something's weird in the situation, I get out. In this second season, there were times I was boondocking, which means sleeping in the van, not in a regular campsite. And I felt off about the location or the other cars that were around, or this car with a guy that pull up and just stay sitting there. Just leave the location, Don't make yourself an easy target. Be aware. If you're distracted on your cell phone or doing something while you're doing other things, you are an easy target for those looking for a target. So these are many ways that I try to use on my travels to try to keep me safe, as well as researching and reading about these places. Always using platforms to see what's the recommendation from other people traveling to those areas, sleeping in a camper van in those areas, and all of that. Oh, hi, Mom. My American mom is here. Hi, Denise. Getting a full house here. I love this. So these are some of the ways I keep myself safe. Let's go to second question, because I'm going to rumble a lot answering these questions here. Number 2 is, why did you start traveling in this lifestyle, in this way? Why a camper van? Isn't it easier just to fly somewhere. Well, for your information, I do fly, then I rent the camper van, and then I travel. And what I like to say about this is this style of traveling, it's not to make it easier, it's not to save money, definitely not. It is to level up your experience of life, of travel, of meeting people, of being spontaneous. What I love the most when you're traveling in the camper van is, oh my God, Hawaii, the perfect example. I was coming back from one of the sites that I went to see, and on my way back, I turn around in this beautiful part of the mountain, and down there, I see this bay, like turquoise blue. So I pull up the van just to go and see on a lookout. And I go on the lookout and I see boats and lots of people doing snorkeling. And snorkeling was one of the goals for me to face my fear in the Hawaii trip. So I had the gear in the van. Most magical thing, I'm like, all right, if there's a spot for me to pull over, I'm going to try this. I turn the van around. I drive by the entrance of the place. There's one spot, the right size of the van. Tell me it was not meant to be. So I pull over, change into my swimsuits right there, get my snorkel gear, get out of the van, and I'm right there. And then I met Pam and Hunter. Hi, Pam and Hunter. And if it wasn't from them, I honestly wouldn't have had the courage to go snorkel. So I just met the strangers in this beautiful place, and we were snorkeling for about 3 hours in this beautiful water. And I cannot explain how terrified I am of snorkeling. If you've been watching the episodes and the seasons, you probably don't understand why. Yo, I just can't. My fear of having a shark encounter in the ocean, it's bigger than anything in life, I guess. So yeah, it is what it is. But anyways, I faced my fear and I did it because of that availability this travel style provides you. You know, you can be in the most beautiful campsite and just laying on top of the van in that beautiful deck and watching the stars. And people are curious, they come and they talk to you. I can tell how many people I met because I was traveling in a camper van. So there's so many reasons why I chose this style. But again, as I mentioned in the beginning of this live, it all started with this couple from Brazil that inspired me to all of this. Ale and Duda. They run a channel called Get Outside, and they travel from Brazil to Alaska and back. And on their way here in Florida, I ended up meeting them. It was such an inspirational, motivational idea for me. So I decided to try, and here I am, 2 seasons down, third season to go, and maybe one in between surprise we're going to talk about later. Let's see next question here. Let me see. Do y'all have any questions there in the chat? You just enjoying the news? Here, let's take a sip together. Cheers, everyone. All right, next question. Where do you park and sleep overnight? So that varies. In Hawaii, it is prohibited to boondock. So you had to rent campsites. So I was in a campsite every night, which you feel a little safer when you are in a campsite. For the keys, it was my first time trying boondocking, which again means you camp on the side of the street where you find, and there's a way to find kind of proper places. There are apps that you can use for that. Again, I share all of that in the ebook we're going to talk about later. But I have a mix. So entire first season, I was spending time in specific campsites. Season 2 in Florida Keys, I was boondocking everywhere. And then season 3 that I already filmed, we will talk more about that too. I did a mix. We had campsites and also boondocking. So it was kind of a mix of things. But again, research. Use the websites, use the platforms, check reviews. Very, very, very important. Let me check here. Any more questions? Have you met any really cool people recently that live in Utah? Craig, is that you? You should do a new season traveling through Utah. I don't know if that's you. Tell me in the chat if that's you, Craig. Yeah, Craig is one of the people I met in the cruise. And yes, how do you know that there's a season that will come to Utah? We need to talk more. Anyways, let me continue answering questions. Send me more questions in the chat if you have. I'll answer them live. But meanwhile, next question was, what do you eat on the road? Again, beauty of traveling in a camper van. Some of the hikes I would come out in Hawaii, I was exhausted. And how amazing it is that instead of getting in your car, having to cross the island, normally in traffic, all the way back to your hotel or going to a restaurant to order, to then be able to eat, you literally get in the parking lot after just walking from the hike. And you get in the van and you pop up your fridge and you make fresh scrambled eggs, bowl of fruit, whatever it is that you want to eat is right there. This is again another high on my list benefit of traveling in this style in a camper van, because out of any of those adventures or anytime you are just hungry or you need to use the restroom, literally pull over, cook, pee, and you're good to go. That's what I love. Let me see, Alexa, you should definitely do it in Puerto Rico. Huh? We were talking about that, Alexa. I would love to see all your adventures in my little island. We'll continue to talk because the vacation time is coming and we need to tie the knots on some ideas in that. So it's not a no, it's not a yes. We need to talk more about that idea. All right. Cheers again. Let's go to the next question. That's a good one. Is van life expensive? Yes. Van life and van life traveling. So a lot of people has the misconcept that traveling this style is to save money. Yes and no. So let me give you some examples here, which is cool because for school, I did a full research on this topic. If you are flying to another location to travel, you normally, in most locations, you would have to have a rental car to make the most of that trip, right? And the hotel where you're flying to. So in those instances, the price of renting a vehicle and renting hotel room put together, a van is normally equal or cheaper than that. So that is why I say, yes, you save. But if you look at the price of doing a travel like that, it's not like, oh, dirt cheap. You're going to pay $500 on a trip. To be honest, y'all, the overall of a week travel like this in a camper van is about $2,000. But again, you're saving on food because you can cook in the van, and it's about the experience. The travel becomes about the journey and not the destination you're going anymore. It's all those stories you're going to live going from a place to another. It's all those unexpected things that you are opening the doors to happen, because you're not just, yes, you are following a plan, but you're also exploring as you go from one plan to another. Does it make sense? Next question. Do you ever feel lonely? Yeah, solo traveling, solo living. Of course, y'all. Of course, we all feel lonely at sometimes, but that's also the beauty of it. It forces you to kind of get to know more yourself and dive deeper within yourself than just keep getting on distractions and always having someone to talk to or always have something that you're doing. So the solo travel style is not only for single people. And this is funny because this is a conversation we had in the cruise, that single is not the same as solo. You can be married, you can have a family, and you can do your own thing. And your own thing can be that a week in a year, you go travel in a camper van. camper van and you have your moment and you dive within yourself and you live these experiences. It doesn't mean you're going wild as a single person, you know? It's just being solo, being on your own, being comfortable with yourself, being comfortable on your skin. And the more you do that, the better you feel at just being at your own company and not needing anyone to do anything. I always say that. Don't wait for the perfect moment to do that trip. Don't wait for you to have company to go to this country you want to visit or to this location you want to go. Like you came to this world by on your own, just you. So go and do these things on your own. I think this is the main key of this channel, is to empower people to go live your best lives without waiting for nobody, for no best time. Just create your opportunities and go experience. That's what I say. Next question, but a sip first. Hold on. How do you shower and use the bathroom? Funny, because that's the curiosity. That's a common theme. Like, I watch other people that live in a van or travel in camper vans, and this is the topic of most curiosity between people. I don't know why. But y'all, it's a tiny shower that does not have an unlimited amount of water. So what do you think? It's gonna be tiny. It's gonna be uncomfortable. I am 5'5", so I have that advantage. You know, I have still some space. But for tall people, it gets harder. uh, you cannot just open the water and enjoy the shower. You literally need to conserve water as you're showering. So the methods are: turn the shower on, and hopefully you got the right temperature on the water heater. And you rinse yourself, wash yourself. Rinse yourself, turn it off, wash yourself, turn it on, rinse it, and then turn it off. Like, you have to save the water. If you've seen the videos when I brush my teeth, wash my face, I do all of that. When you're cooking and then you're rinsing or washing the dishes, all same concept. You have to conserve water. But you know what? Again, amazing to come out of a hike with mud all over your place if you follow all over your body. If you follow the one that I tumbled over in the mountain in Hawaii and I got covered in mud, um, what a beauty to get down in the parking lot and be able to not only rinse myself of all the mud on the outdoor back shower and then get in the van and immediately hop into a nice shower. So again, beautiful advantage. If you're in a hotel, you don't have to get in the car like that and drive to the hotel like gross. And when you get into sleeping in campsites, some of them, most amazing experience showering outdoors. So this campsite I was in Hawaii had this beautiful, like, private but outdoor open showers. And oh my goodness, that's my favorite shower in life. So every time I'm traveling in the camper van, I'm just looking for, parks and places that you can shower outside. And then you don't have to shower in the van. So the van is there for convenience, but there are plenty other options. I also know people who live in camper vans and don't shower in the van. They have gym memberships that they can just stop and use the shower in the gym. So again, it's not a big deal. It's more of a plus for having that convenience for when you need a shower right there and then in your car. We're getting to the bottom of the list. So what gear do you use to film and edit your videos? So basically, when you start YouTube, they say, oh, you don't need all this expensive gear and all of that, which is true. But I love seeing the aerial videos that people do in their YouTube channels. So I went crazy and I decided to invest. And I end up getting so I have a DJI drone. I think mine is the 4 Pro. Is that what it's called? I don't even know what it's called. That's bad. So I use the DJI to make all those aerial images you see in the channel. Started on season 2. So all those... Actually, did you watch me having the first flight over all the bridges of Key West? and literally almost frying my drone in the power lines over the ocean. And that was the first flight of this drone. That was wild. Let me check the chat here. Oh, cool. Alex, do you ever play an instrument in your van? Yes, on season 1, if you check it out, when I travel to Hawaii, I'll come back to the gear, okay? When I traveled to Hawaii, I fell in love with the ukulele. So when I did this camper van trip in Hawaii, the first one, I took the ukulele with me, and a lot of the nights in the campsite. I'm not a pro. I'm just teaching myself how to play, but it was just so enjoyable and like a therapeutical session with your own self. So yes, every time I can, if I'm not flying, because it makes it more difficult to take more things, I bring the ukulele with me. I brought the ukulele with me to the Florida Keys, but I was so busy that I didn't use it. But yes, I love bringing instruments, and that's something I recommend people to do too. Thanks for the question. Back to the gear. So I have the drone. I use an iPhone. So a basic iPhone 15. Mine is a Pro, which has like the better camera, or said so. But all I use to film is my iPhone. I bought a gimbal, which is the little thing that you use to put your camera on top, and that stabilizes the video as you're shooting, so it's not as shaking with your hand. But to be honest, every time I go out, I hate carrying a lot of things. I'm the kind of person that does not like carrying a purse. I like to put everything in my pockets and be practical. So it comes time to come out, and I don't want to carry the phone and the gimbal and the drone and the external, but like all this stuff. A lot of the times I just grab the phone and I'm like, I'm just gonna film with my phone. But a lot of times I try to put on the gimbal so I can get those nice, time shots that speed up everything, and they are kind of smoother than if I was holding with my hand. What else I use for gear? I have microphones, but again, it's another item I don't find myself using so much. When I do voiceover, when I'm editing the episodes at home, and I do voiceover, sometimes I use the mic to make a clear audio. But I notice if I'm at home, the audio here is pretty good just in my iPad. My iPad is what I use to edit all my videos. I got started on the Final Cut Pro, if you're familiar with editing software. What else? That's pretty much it, y'all. It's basics, Pretty much everything comes from my phone, and I need to get better flying that drone, so I need to play a little more with it. I just don't know when. Time, because let me see what else I have here. Oh, tripod. Sometimes I have a little tripod with me too, Alex. And a lot of times for, traveling solo and wanting those pictures, a lot of times I just ask people, but if not, I have a little tripod that I bring up and I can either record or take pictures with. All right, everyone, that was a long question session. If you have any more, leave me here in the comments, but I want to start diving into what's coming next here. And the next thing is a recap of the Florida season. Who here watched the Florida season? Let me see in the comments. Did y'all watch all the episodes? Most of them? None of them? Tell me what you've seen so far. So this Florida season, traveling through the Florida Keys in a camper van is the most amazing experience you can have for the travel of the Florida Keys. Because Florida Keys, you don't want to just go to one key or another, or just drive all the way, skipping through all the beauty and going to Key West, which is the most famous, and miss everything in between. And if you do that with your car, I will tell you, I live here in Florida. I can easily grab my convertible, which is great for driving on those bridges, and hit all those keys. But what makes it nearly impossible is the cost. A hotel in the Florida Keys, literally, ranges from $2 to $5 or more a night. Did you all know that? Take a look if you're curious. So it's funny because this Florida Keys trip is the reason why I went to Hawaii. Coming off of the pandemic, there was a very cheap direct flight from Orlando, where I live, to Honolulu. And I work at Disney, and there was this amazing discount for Aulani Resort in Hawaii. So me and my friend were planning a trip for my birthday to the Florida Keys. And once we started researching hotels, it was like, this is impossible. We cannot afford this. I was like, amiga, I just got a crazy discount for Aulani. And I think with the flights I found, it's cheaper for us to go to Hawaii than the Keys. Do you want to go to Hawaii with me? And that's how the whole Hawaii thing started. If you don't know, before that season one, I traveled other 3 times to Hawaii. I've been to all islands, traveled to the islands 4 times. Definitely one of my favorite places in the world to be. Even in my travel tattoo, I don't know if, I think you can see. I have the plumerias here that represents Hawaii. But yeah, so let me come back to the Florida Keys. Sorry. So it is possible if you have money. If you are a normal human that just, pay your bills right there, like me, you need to get creative. So I discovered this company called Indie Campers. They are in Miami, Florida, and they are a very reasonable price to rent a camper van. I think for the Florida Key season, I stay close to $1,000 on the expense for the van for the full week. And if you calculate that, that is cheaper than driving my own car and getting in the hotels through the Keys, plus the freedom of stopping, being anywhere with everything I brought with me, blah, blah, blah. All I talk about Campervan Travel. So to start, I have no ways to recommend this trip anymore. And let me show you all. I'm going to share my screen here with you. When I research trips, I go insane. I look at Google Maps. I have tons of saved videos on my Instagram. I have several different platforms that I save travel stuff. If you met me, you know we talked about travel, and I pulled my list of travels on my phone and I took notes of places I want to be. So when I travel, I compile all of that information to create the perfect itinerary. And I want to share with you all how crazy this can get, because this is how my plan to plan this Florida Key travel went. Here, let me share. Let me know if you can see my screen. I think you all can see. So literally, I pulled a Google Maps, and then if you can see all those little blue flags, blue dots with a flag inside, I start marking on my Google Maps all the places I wanted to be. And then with a pen on my iPad, the electronic pen, I start writing down in different colors, like all the stuff I didn't want to miss, restaurants. And then I created an itinerary. So if you can see me here small in this little square right here, look at me for a second. So the Florida Keys right here, right? Instead of what normally everyone does is either go stopping into everything, get to Key West, and now you have all this way to come back without doing anything. Or a lot of people just go to Key West because that's what everyone talks about and comes back. Instead, I literally crafted the perfect itinerary, stopping and skipping Keys. And on the way back, I stopped on the things that I skipped on the way in. So it was just exciting going back as it was coming in. Actually, one of my latest stops was my swim with the sea lion. What an amazing experience that was. Let me pull back my iPad here because I have a little list of the highlights for me to share with you. Let me see. Oh, yeah, another very cool thing. So coming to the Florida Keys, learning, I love, and this is funny because in school I hated history. I cheated all I could to pass in history tests. But as an adult and traveling, I love learning about history when I travel to places. And if you watch the channel, you know this is something that I love sharing throughout the episodes. So it was really cool to not only just go straight to the Keys to do this travel, but taking the advantage of me driving from Orlando all the way to the South Florida, enjoying some spots on the drive that were related to this trip. So one of the main stops that I did was visiting the Flagler Museum here in the east coast of Florida on the way to this trip and learn a little bit of his story because he is the key reason why Florida Keys exist. He built the railway to connect all the keys. And so it just becomes a way more involved travel when you are learning about what you're going to see and then you get to see what you're going to see. So that was really cool. Another really cool part was dry tortugas. If you watch that episode, I took a seaplane for the first time to go to dry tortugas. And as Selena does, I plan all these crazy things I wanted to accomplish in 2 hours, but not really because the flight in takes some time. The flight back takes some time. I think you have an hour and a half. I think you might have an hour and a half or two in Dry Tortugas, which is after you get to the Florida Keys. It is a secluded island. You can only get there by ferry boat, or the seaplane. And I decided to take my paddleboard. I wanted to tour the fort and learn the history of the fort. I wanted to do snorkeling, try if I had the courage to do snorkeling there because it's a beautiful place to do snorkeling too. And there's a seawall in the fort that supposedly you should not go there and miss walking around there. So it was just insane, y'all. Like watching that episode is very enjoyable because you can see I was able to do all of that to show it to you, right? I digged into the information of the fort. I learned about the prisoners of the fort and shared the story. I took the walk on the seawall. I filled my board. I went to the water despite the fact that the board was sinking. Watch the episode if you haven't. It's a pretty good one. But a lesson I learned there is I need to stop packing my schedule with everything. I am a very FOMO person. Who else out there has fear of missing out too? Because I am like that. And the fear of missing on all these activities I wanted to do ended up taking away of the enjoyment of being able to just choose one thing and be happy with that. So I think I'm in a phase of my life that I'm learning to accept that it's okay to just choose one thing. And that was something I worked a lot on this cruise we're going to talk I just took because there was tons of things to do. I wanted to do everything, but there was this perfect hammock on the balcony facing the ocean, of course. And I cannot tell you how many times I slept in there and missed everything. But anyways, the FOMO is a thing. And definitely in that episode, it was something that stuck with me because I laughed as the plane was taking off from Dry Tortugas. I felt like Dry Tortugas didn't even happen because I was more rushing from one activity to another to try to accomplish all the activities than really enjoying myself. So if I look back through the episodes, I can live that moment. But when I was there personally, I feel I didn't experience the moment. Does it make sense what I'm talking? So let's work on our FOMO. Alexa, I see you mentioned in the chat you have that too. So let's just choose one thing and understand that is as much of a good moment and a good thing than all the other options. The good moment is what you choose to be at. And if you're there present, it should make it the best moment of whatever it is, the other activities that you are missing. All right, let's see. Talking about things I missed. The beginning of the season, what happened? It was high winds everywhere I was traveling to. So I had the plan to paddle in Peanut Island here on the east coast of Florida. Could not do that because it was too high winds. Could not fly that drone all the way until I was in the middle of the Keys because it was high winds every day. Then I got to the first Keys, Key Largo, with that beautiful park, John Pennekamp. And I really wanted to get the board out in there because I didn't know if I was going to have the courage to snorkel, but there's so many good things you can see. And in the inflatable board, you can just lay on it, put your mask and put your head in the water and kind of see things. And I couldn't even do that. Like the beginning of the trip was missing one thing after another because of wind. That's something I never accounted for, missing things because of wind. You know, you would think rain or it's too hot or raining or snowing, whatever it is. But wind was never in my mind. That was the first. Let me see here. What else? And the sea lion. Oh my God. That was one of the highlights of this season for me. Meeting people. I think you all saw the episode. I meet Scott, who makes it possible for me to make that drone flight. So shout out to Scott if you're here, Scott. Thank you again so much. Learning about all the marine projects that he has. So if you haven't seen the Sea Lion episode, go back and watch. It was such a great experience. I was so apprehensive of how to be in the water with such a large body animal and like a little crazy animal, right? Sea lions are a little crazy to me. So I was afraid on how their reaction with you would be. But again, I always say, force yourself to try things you are afraid, and then you can decide, I'll never do that again, or yes, I'll do that again. So snorkeling, I don't think I need to try that again. I do not feel comfortable doing that. Swimming with a sea lion, that was awesome. I will totally do that again. And I already promised my mom when she visits here from Brazil that we're going to go there and do this experience together. So that, and to finish up this season, did you all watch the day I went paddleboarding? That finally I could put the paddleboard in the water, and it was in the middle of the mangroves. So it's in between all these islands that connect to one another. And this place, you get out in a canal, and then you go all the way to the ocean. Then you turn around, and you come back through the mangroves. And what was very special about this one is I paddleboard here in Florida all the time, and I've seen all kind of animals in the water you can imagine. Of course, gators. Don't ask this question. I paddleboard with gators all the time here in Florida. I was going to say I'm not crazy, but yes, I am. I've seen otters. I've seen monkeys. I've seen raccoons. I've seen all kinds of birds Florida can show you. I've seen manatees. Manatees almost flipped my board. I had this one paddle. I forgot the name of these birds, but they are black with a very long neck, and they look like snakes when they're in the water. Someone's here in the chat and you know about birds, please help me out. But these birds, as I was paddleboarding, there was literally like 10, 15 of them just swimming and coming up like they were having fun with me paddleboarding. It was super cool. But in the Florida Keys, going through the mangroves and looking under the water, and it was all jellyfish, but they were not non-stinging jellyfish. Thank you for the people at the paddleboard place for educating me about them, so I didn't freak out. But jellyfish all over. And then out of the blue, I looked down, a shark coming under my board, but like all the way deep down was nurse sharks that were in that area. So that was really cool for someone who's petrified about a shark encounter. That was something I was really excited for, and it was right on my way back. I was about to pull in the dock, so I wasn't that scared. So, anyways, Florida Key season for all of you that watched. Thank you so much. Thank you all who are here in this channel. If you're new here, welcome. You have so much to go explore. So this is my recap of this Florida Key season. And getting in the recap of this Florida Key season is the part most exciting I have to share with y'all. Who's ready? So, all my friends, all of you keep asking me, how do I do this, Selena? I want to rent a camper van too. I don't have the courage to travel solo. What are the apps you use? How do you know where to sleep? How do you know this? How do you know that? Yo, I have put a massive 46 pages ebook with all the tips, like literally grabbing on your hand and walking you through how it is to travel solo in a camper van. Do you want to take a look at that? Because I have it on the deck here. Let's look at that together. Let me show you, because if you want to try something like that, and again, this is not only for you to travel here in Florida. I decided to separate the ebooks that I promised. So this one is a book that teaches you how to do that. Alexa, you're screaming you want it. So here are all the news for you. This book has literally all the chapters explaining how is the electric, how is the water, even the types of toilet you find in camper vans. So you can get this ebook just for fun. It teaches you the apps you need. How do you find parking? How do you find where gas, where to put water in the van? What does things look like? I will teach you step by step. Oh my God, how much I wish this ebook was out there before I tried my first travel. So this is a gift for me to you. Let me pull it up, because I am so proud of this material. It took me so many hours to put together. All right, we ready? Here we go. So this is the ebook. It will teach you about rental companies. And again, I am raw in this ebook. I'm going to tell you the bad experiences I have with what companies, the great experiences. I was able to get a discount with some of the companies I rented vans before. So check this, because that discount is only for who gets this ebook. And trust me, a 10% discount when you're paying $2,000 on a rental, it is a lot of money. So you want to get this discount. And in here, you're going to get a little introduction of me. Why do I travel this style? You already heard me talking about it. But look at all these materials you can find here. You'll find why van life as a travel style, how to rent a camper van, camper van insurance. This was my biggest lesson, because in my last rental, a lot of you don't know, because that season hasn't come up yet, but I had a minor accident in my last season, and I went through hell, y'all. I went through hell and back. I had to get a lawyer. Thank goodness. With my insurance plan with work, I had access to a group that I could get a lawyer for free. So this lawyer guided me through all this process. And I learned so much of what these rental companies are trying to fish you with information, hook you with information, right? And they're just claiming just enough for you to think this is what you're getting. And then after you pay and after the accident happens, they're like, no, read on the fine print on page 572, section 8AA, part B2, that it says we are not liable for this. Like, your car insurance will have to handle this. It was a mess. Okay. So in this ebook, I literally teach you all the things you need to look. You need to call your car insurance, all the questions for you to ask, all the documents you have to check and print, as well as the company you're renting with. So I'll say, just for the value of knowing how to do insurance with these rentals, this is worth the very, very small couple of coffee cups price this book has. So then you have van operations, where I teach you how the electrical, propane, everything in the different electrical systems in the van. How do they work, right? There's a camper van gear checklist from all my trips, things that you not only want to take with you, but when you're renting a camper van, you want to make sure the provider of the vehicle has those items. So again, very, very valuable stuff on this ebook. The must-have apps you should have on your phone to look for those campsites, look where to refill water, where to refill propane, where it's safe to boondock, all of that. I have some safety tips for the road, a mindset and first trip confidence boosters, self-development worksheets, because I think the solo travel, as I said, is the perfect opportunity for you to dive within yourself. So you'll be very surprised on the worksheets I included in this ebook, that you don't need to do them all. You can choose what resonates more with you, and also do those mindful exercises throughout your trip and my final notes. So let's take a quick look at here. So here you can see, this is where I dive in. I have all the links for the company rentals, my tips, and I'm sharing my experience, everything you need to know about insurance, what you need to check, what you need to ask, all the systems of the van, electrical, water, how do you empty those tanks, all the different toilets you can find in a van. I mean, name it and you can find in this ebook. Here are the checking lists, apps. I mean, yo, name it, you can find in here. These are some of those worksheets I mentioned to you for your mindful moments on the road, reflect and develop yourself, and my final notes. So I hope you are just as excited as I am for having this material out finally. And here is how you can get this ebook for free. I've been talking about this entire season 2. Some people are like, Selena, when are you going to tell us how we get this ebook? I'm like, you need to wait. It's on the last episode. We're finally here. So if you watched, or go back and watch, yo, it's 20 minutes of fun, hilarious stuff that happens to me on the road. Go back or watch every episode. There's a keyword I say at some point in the episode. Sometimes into the middle, sometimes it's in the end. But there's a keyword I specifically say, this is the keyword for today's episode. There are 16 episodes in the season. So the first 20 people that gets those 16 codes to me, and I want you to private message me on the Instagram account of the channel, which is Let's adVANture. Remember, van is with VAN for a camper van. Let's adVANture.ofc. I'm going to put here in the chat. Insta. A lot of you are already there. Let's adVANture.ofc. Let me pin it and keep it up top so you all won't lose it. All right, it's in the chat. It's all the way at the top. So the first 20 people, because those messages are time-stamped, the first 20 people will get a free, this entire ebook I just showed, free. Plus, I'm creating the next ebook, which is the perfect itinerary that I crafted, tested, and tried. As I mentioned, going to the Florida Keys. So you don't need a camper van. You want to go with your hubby. You want to go with your wife, with your girlfriend, with your friends, in your own car, driving through the Florida Keys. Well, good luck with hotels. But the itinerary of what to do every day, I can say with confidence, I have perfected that. You all saw the map on how I put that together. So if you have FOMO, no need to have FOMO, because I included everything you won't miss on the way to Florida Keys and on the way back. This itinerary, this first 20 people that are sending me the codes, you will also get that free, okay? And in the future, every season of a new trip, a new destination, I'm going to have those itineraries coming out. So this way, it made more sense to me to separate it, because the itinerary works if you're traveling in a camper van or not, so I can help all my other friends that asks me for these itineraries anyways. And if you want to try doing a camper van, then you can get the first time Campervan Travel guide. And as I just showed you, it has all the details to help you on your trip. So super, super exciting. Alexa, I want to see the 16 keywords. Are you ready? Let me see the messages here a little bit. Oh, I can't see. I don't see it either. No, hold on. Did you all not see the... Let me know in the chat here. Were you able to see the ebook? Sorry, you guys. I'm just seeing this now. Let me know in the chat. I'm going to wait. Were you all able to see the ebook when I put it on the screen? Tell me yay or nay. If you tell me nay, I'm going to show you again. Let's see what else we have here. Well, for those of you staying, thank you. It's been, oh my God, it's been almost an hour we're chatting. We need to wrap up this. Não apareceu. Obrigada, mãe. Thank you. So, mom is saying it didn't show up. Here, let me try again. All right. Tell me yes or no if you can see it on the screen. I don't know why this is not working. Oh, there you go. I think it's there because I have my cell phone connected on this live here to double check and I can see it. Yes? Thank you, Rita. All right, let's dive into the ebook again then. So there's a little introduction page that will come right after. I'm waiting here to see. Yes, okay, pages are turning. So let's go again through this content. You have why this van lifestyle should be for you or not, how to rent the camper van, insurance, how the van operates, the gear checklist you need to have, all the apps you need to have, safety trips you need to know for the road, a mindset and first trip confidence boosters for you to do this trip, self-development worksheets that even if you don't do any of this, you can get this ebook just for the self-development worksheets. I promise you, if you know me, I love to work on inspirational and mindful material. So I put together that myself for you all. And then my notes. So here you can see some of the pages of this ebook. I have links included. So all the companies I recommend for you to rent, you have links that you can click directly out of the ebook. When you purchase and download the ebook, I will share my own experience with these places. There are specific coupon codes for you to use with these companies and get a discount. When it comes to insurance, there's a lot you need to ask them, and it's very exhausting and lost. So I have an entire chapter on insurance, a checklist of what you need to be asking them and all of that. Then an entire chapter on how the van operates, the electrical system, the water system, all these tanks you need to empty. What is a black tank? What is a gray tank? What kinds of toilet can you find in your van? Again, all of that is in here. Please let me know you are able to see it. Yes, Rita is giving me a high five, high 10. Love it. So I think you all were able to see this time around. So now I want to share with you the link where you can purchase this ebook. And if you are in this live today, guess what? You get 20% off this ebook today if you mention the code I'm going to give you right now for watching this live. So Fourth Wall is the website that I'm using for this ebook. If you click on the link, now I'm going to put this link up on top. I'm going to leave it in there. So this is the link to the ebook. You can click on that and get right now to the ebook, purchase and start reading, start working on your reflection sheets, planning your trip, understanding how event works, thinking if this is for you. The 20% code, are you ready? Are you ready? Because I need to remember what it is. Hold on. Oh, short-term memory is horrible sometimes. The code for the ebook, roll the drums. I'm getting there. Aha, found it. Ready? adVANture, but again, VAN, adVANture Live 20. Here, I'm going to type it for you. Use the code adVANture. Let me put in caps. adVANture Live 20. And that will give you 20% to purchase your ebook and get ready for your trip or for reflecting on your trip, whatever it is that you would like to use it for. All this information is in there for you. I would love to hear for those of you that get the ebook. What are you thinking? How is it helping you? What questions do you have? So please connect with me on Instagram. That's a platform that it's easier for us to chat, send messages. I love to hear from you. What are you thinking? What do you want to see? This channel is for me to share this inspiration, this encouragement, but I need to hear from you. What do you need? How can I help you? What questions do you have? Let's stay in touch. So if we're not yet, subscribe to the channel because I'm about to share what's coming next, everyone. Do you have a guess? Let's see who else is here. Oh, Roll with Bay, your room is so cool. Yeah, it's literally travel inspired. So, y'all, let's talk about next season. Next season is season 3, but it's not going to happen right now. We're going to go somewhere else. Not in a camper van, but super solo. Have you ever thought about traveling solo in a cruise ship? Because I have, and I just came back from it. If you never heard from this, I never heard of this before. Virgin Voyages is a cruise line that does solo travelers. So not only they offer rooms that are only for solo people. Also, if you don't know about Virgin Voyages, they are adult-only cruise. So all the activities are directed to adults. Question number 1 people ask is, how wild is this cruise, right? All these parties, all this stuff that is adult-only, a lot of drinking, all these crazy people. Well, stay tuned because I am going to pull the curtains and bring you with me in this trip. And you're going to meet my new friends. Some of them were or are here still today. I'm going to start giving stuff away because traveling solo in a cruise line was something I was very nervous about. And you think, oh, Selena, you travel solo. What's the big deal? No, think about hopping in a cruise on your own when everyone else is mostly like couples celebrating anniversaries and the families with their kids, right? In a general cruise. I couldn't picture myself solo in a cruise. I mean, I could because I just enjoy meeting people and going for the experiences. But I gotta say, one of the episodes will tell you, is traveling solo worth it in this cruise? Another episode will tell you, how wild are these parties in this cruise? A little disclaimer, since you all here in this live still at 1 hour later, one of the parties, I ended up in the pool. So I'm going to share how wild these parties are. I'm going to literally bring you inside the parties, all the activities that they have, all the restaurants. The restaurants in this cruise line works completely different. If you don't know how Virgin Cruise Line works, you are lost. It's not like a regular cruise line that you go to the regular dining room every night. There are several dining restaurants included in your trip. So I'm going to come with this mini series. It's going to be about 5 or 6 episodes, just giving you some insights if you'd like to try a Virgin Voyages cruise. I'm going to have a code for you so you get a free $150 drinking tab on me on your ship. So you definitely want to stay for this mini season. It's going to be short and sweet. And right after that, we're going to talk about what's going to happen on season 3. So I hope you enjoyed this time here live with me and cheering together. We got to the end of the glass. We got to the end of the list of everything we were going to talk. Let me check the chat. Do you all still have any questions or anything you want to say? Thank you all so much for being here. Let me check the chat, and then we're going to go on our way to enjoy the rest of our Sunday. But I hope this was a fun chat. I want to do this at the end of every season, so hopefully we'll get to chat more and get to know more of each other. And I'm going to keep on building these materials together, these ebooks, itineraries, everything I can share about my travels, I want to share with you. So let me know what you want. Please communicate with me. Let me know what you want. How can I help you? Okay. Well, everyone, this is all for today. Thank you all so much for being here. We will start next Sunday with a teaser of what this mini solo cruise season is going to be. Who's ready to see that? All right. Thank you all so much. Love you all so much. Thank you again for being here with me. I'll see you all next Sunday to see what this means.